these, like right now we're doing the universal field, unique and united, and we have universal presence, and we have the universal bridges of grace, and there's just been all of these different, I even had the universal energy of money, but this latest one, the universal field, unique and united, it's like the energies have gotten stronger and stronger, and I get to channel them, then I set them. They're set in words, and the energy is attached to the words, and then I pass them along so that when people take these activations, they learn how to give them, and they also learn how to teach them.
Peggy, what we're on our like 8-minute mark now.
All right.
Left, and I want to ask. I'm a regular person, and I'm watching the show, and I'm hearing all this wonderful stuff. How can I benefit right now from what you have?
Brings you more into alignment with the core energy, your source energy of who you are. It helps to open up your creative, your co-creative energies. It helps you with the expansion of consciousness to be able to, I understand that there are some things we can't quite make sense of yet, but that doesn't keep me from trying. So what people benefit from is they start to feel more connected, more aware. They become more creative. Just this past week, I had somebody who said her daughter was autistic. And the first time she had the first session, her daughter started to speak. And her daughter is in school now and things. I mean, we've had a lot of spontaneous healings. I haven't focused on those because sometimes they happen and sometimes they don't. And to me, the miracle's already happened. Stephen, my husband Stephen, has always said that. The miracle that you're waiting for has already happened. It's you. You're the miracle. And we know that. So why would someone take this? To feel more connected inside of themselves, to be in a place of expanded consciousness, to be able to look at what's happening, to see the shifting reality, and to be able to contribute to their own lives and to the lives of the collective in a way that is much more effective. I mean, to me, I love waking up every morning, and I don't think there's anything wrong with me. It's not like we have to wake up and say, oh, well, I need to improve this, I got to improve that. So it's just exciting to be able to wake up and say, well, I've got another chance to become more of who I am, and to do it, and I do this when no one's looking, to do it with the best of my ability, with joy in my heart, for the opportunity to love. This is the energy of the EMF Balancing Technique. It wakes you up even more to that which is already in you.
I think, Peggy, for me, after having done many sessions and learning about it, what is so beautiful about this work is that it's all about the innate wisdom of the individual. You said that yourself. Your innate wisdom will guide this. And I think what you said is true. I personally have had people have spontaneous healing when giving a session, and yet we cannot say EMF creates spontaneous healing. It creates whatever the innate needs for that person to experience, and their innate guides the process. So it's, to me, I guess, a really evolutionary tool that works with the innate and consciousness at. How do you measure that? I don't know. We measure the effects. We measure the direct effects, but
to me, it's always been about opening the door.
Yeah.
And that's to let people, to train them to be aware of what's there. They're more than, as Kryon says, more than they think. And also, once the door opens, as you know, then they see what they didn't see before, and all of this comes flooding in. And that's when you get some of the results. And quite often the door isn't open, and that's what Peggy said. We've got 5 minutes left, and so what I'd love you to do is just say whatever you'd like to say. We have a lot of people watching. This particular show is the once-a-month free show. So this is going to go to a whole lot of people who have not seen this or even in the channeling. So there's lots of new things here. And so this is our opportunity here for you just for the last few minutes to say whatever you'd like to say.
I would like to expand or to just repeat what Monica had said. Always this work from the very beginning, when I was giving these patterns, when I started to channel this energy through, and I know how strong the energy of infinite love is. We always asked permission to work with the field. That was always in this work. And it was always, and even now when I speak or we do the activations or any work I do, I always start with, you will respond and calibrate energetically according to your inner wisdom, the innate wisdom within you. That has always been. And that to me is, even as we start to communicate with one another through the one field and we're continuing to communicate with one another energetically, I think it's really important that we have that respect for one another, that we have that kind of wisdom for one another to allow, because what happens is things that we couldn't even understand or describe, that's when the spontaneous healings may happen or big quantum leaps in understanding happen. It's these energetic patterns of the EMF balancing technique. I'm so excited to be teaching it online, the phases 1 through 4 in November. It's been quite a while since I've had the opportunity to teach this work.
That's right.
And I've returned to it, and I can see where the patterns are timeless, and they're really important for us to support ourselves in this time of change. What we are doing is we are helping one another help ourselves. That's another thing. That beautiful figure 8, that honoring, that let's grow together. And that's what I love. I've loved watching the guests that have been on the program so far. I love to see the work that's out there. And I'm so excited to see that we've come together and that we're able to present with you. And I'm just absolutely adoring the energies that are being brought to the planet at this time, and to see you all involved with this and what Kryon has brought to us. Thank you so much. I mean, I could talk about my work forever. I could take you through. I got choked up because there was a channeling that wanted to come through and I have to stop it. But I would just say a big heart-to-heart hug to everyone. To know your energy of wholeness. May you know your energy and know, like together you can affirm, I am wholehearted, multidimensional me. That's who you are. And for me, and if you'd like to, I am an evolutionary. We've had enough revolutionaries on this planet. Uh-oh, my finger went up. Enough revolutionaries on the planet. It's time for the evolutionaries. And again, thank you so, so much.
Absolutely. Peggy, will you just share with us the website where people can go to get more information, to let people know where they can reach you, and that you have many practitioners all around the world which they can access through your website?
Yes, it's www.peggyphoenixdubro.com, and they can go there, and then if they have other questions, they can contact us.
Beautiful.
Peggy Phoenix Dubro is one of the few, maybe 5 or 6 on the planet, whose Kryon has actually given a Lemurian name, has identified her as one of the ones who has the first core information. And if you take a look at her work, 1988, she has been teaching all this. We have a lot of young people that we're interviewing coming forward, which appears to be very new information, and you realize that it's all core information. It is their truth, and they're putting it into processes and situations that's helping all of us. Peggy, however, has been doing it for a very, very long time, over 30 years, and this is an example of the kind of people we want to bring to you to show you. These things, folks, are not new. They are ancient, they're beautiful, they're intuitive, they are wise, and we're starting to awaken to many of them, and that's why we brought her here. So, Peggy, thank you so much, and we are now going to tell all of our folks, again, thank you, and finally, it's time for a break, and at the end of the break, we will go into our Circle of 12. We'll see you in 10 minutes. Thank you. thank you very much for coming back from break. That seems like a funny way to say it, but I always wonder, are they going to come back or not? This is our last section, and it will be the Circle of 12 channeling.
And before we do the meditation that takes us into the Circle of 12, Kryon is going to say, and so it is, and that is your opportunity to allow the process to continue. So we invite you to stay in the energy of the healing circle from Kryon. There's going to be music that will continue playing for some time after and so it is. And just hold that space. And for some of you, you may find it difficult when Kryon gives you visuals to look at and your brain's trying to figure out, well, I'm not getting any images. Here's the advice that I want to give is to just close your eyes and don't worry if there's no images coming to you. Mm-hmm. Simply connect in with a feeling of gratitude that there is a portal of energy that's being transmitted during this process. It has nothing to do with what you're visually seeing. Simply allow yourself to bathe in the energy and don't worry about what pictures do or don't come to you. Others, of course, will have beautiful visions, and I think that's all the instructions we need.
I think that's good.
Yeah. So I invite you to close your eyes. As we prepare for the Circle of 12, let us begin by giving honour and thanks to Mother Gaia. She's our original parent, and Mother Gaia gives us all we need. Thank you, Gaia, for being here. Thank you, Gaia, for loving us. And let us give honour and thanks to the Star Mothers. Thank you, Star Mothers, for being here. Thank you, Star Mothers, for loving us. The Star Mothers are our spiritual parents who came to Earth as part of a grand system to give us the spark of divinity. This piece of God that lives inside is the power of the God energy within the human being. You are part of the system of the Creator that is biased in love. Let us affirm our willingness to receive the unconditional love of the Creator. I am willing to accept the perfect love of the Creator. I am willing to accept the perfect love of the Creator. I am willing to accept the perfect love of the Creator. Let us now continue towards the Circle of 12 and let us affirm that we give permission to connect with the God inside.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon. Come closer. Oh, come closer, dear ones, for this is the only thing I can say that makes any sense to any of you regarding what can happen right now. Perhaps you have taken
self triggered their feeling.
Yes.
And so we've been asked that question now for years. And so it's not until we get to the master class that these things are being answered. But mostly, I would say exactly what you said, Monica. It's in the Akash. It's in the DNA. Whether or not physically you were there, it's implanted as though you were, and you have all the information.
I think if you're curious, if you have curiosity, then there is definitely a thread of connection there for you, and that's the invitation to explore more and learn more. And it's kind of a good leeway now into the next question, I feel, because this next question comes from Ruth, and Ruth is in Germany and is asking, how do we know that Kryon tells the truth? What a great question, because I really encourage everyone to always have a healthy level of skepticism. So, Ruth, I want to tell you that Lee wanted this very answer for himself back when he was beginning to channel Kryon and needed some outside validation. How can you tell if it's the truth? So that's when Lee found something from a metaphysical magazine that was actually published 2 years before Kryon came into Lee's life. There were 7 guidelines for discernment. So there's the answer to your question. How do we know if anything is being told with the truth? You use discernment. You discern for yourself. And in these guidelines, where we're asked to discern for ourselves, we're asked to find out, how does it feel? Because we are the ones that have the power to discern. So that is the first step. And when Lee saw these guidelines, he posted them on his website next to his own written channels, and it's been there ever since. And I want to share these 7 paraphrased guidelines of discernment with you. And again, these guidelines came from an article. It was in 1987, and it was the New Realities magazine. And I think it is so important to be aware of these guidelines. So ahead of time, I gave them to our video tech crew so that we can share them on the screen with you as I give it to you. Here they are. Number 1. The message will always be useful information for everyone. Beware of the channel that gives you useful information for only a few, or tells you that it's only for a special group or a sequestered number. The message must be useful for all humanity, every single human. This is an area of discernment, allowing you to know you are hearing the truth. Number 2, the message should always be uplifting. Watch for an empowering message, not one of fear, not one that drags you down, not one that makes you want to take fearful action or hide, but an enabling message. And this is a staple of God energy. It must be there. It should inspire the listener and the reader. Every recorded angel appearance before a human being has begun with, fear not. Number 3, Spirit, God, will never ever channel a message that asks you to give up your free will. Never. Your free will or free choice is what drives your future and the future of humanity. Number 4, Spirit will never give you a message ever that asks you to violate the integrity of what you believe. You are honoured in your thought processes. Spirit will never trick you or talk you into anything. The message must never violate your integrity. You must feel comfortable with it, and it must ring true to your heart. Number 5, Spirit will never represent a channeler as being the only source. Watch for this, for there are many channels of Spirit, and they all coordinate their information to create a bigger picture, especially in this new age. They will never represent themselves as the only source of information. Number 6, watch for the fact that the information is normally new information. Watch out for the channel that simply rehashes the old, for they are not channeling anything but the ego of the human being. New information is necessary. Combined with core information, it is the entire reason for the channel. Think about it. And number 7, the last guideline. Watch for the fact that channeled information should have spiritual solutions presented. Giving solutions to life challenges on earth via new information is the purpose of channeling. And so hopefully, Ruth, you now have a clearer picture of how you can discern for yourself if Kryon is telling the truth or not. So now we'd like to, and thank you, Lee, that I always enjoy going over those guidelines.
I'm glad you published them here so everybody can see it as well. I think it's overdue.
Yes, it is. All right, everyone, let's go to a time now where we do a brief meditation and have a channel from Kryon. So I invite you to close your eyes and allow this moment to be a time of introspection. You have just heard 7 guidelines of discernment. And so in this quiet time, let us engage our engine of discernment. Is the love of God real or not? What does your engine of discernment say to that question? Could there be a bigger truth beyond the 3D, the 4D that we exist in? What does your engine of discernment say to that question? Is Kryon real or not? When Kryon says, I am in love with humanity, what does your engine of discernment say to that question? Am I important? Does my life matter? Am I alone? Am I loved? Am I a piece of the Creator? Again, what does your engine of discernment say to these questions? And for the next test of discernment, I invite Lee to open a portal of communication where the man Lee steps aside so that the energy of Kryon, who has never been human, pours through this portal to communicate with us. And I ask you, in that communication, what does your engine of discernment say about the message we are about to receive?
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Indeed, I open a portal of love. I am in love with humanity. I am here to love humanity. And the messages I give are so that the humans who are awakening will have solace, peace, hope, and healing in their lives at a difficult time. Here is the subject for today. Is it possible that history actually repeats itself? Now, that's a big one, because there are those who would say, it seems so. I mean, just take a look at it. And then there are others who would say, interestingly enough, there is science behind it. And then there are others who say, no, it cannot be, because humans control their own history and their own future and their own now. So how could it go in a circle? How would that be possible? So I'm going to give you a definitive answer. Does history repeat itself? And the answer is yes, it does. And it is so obvious to any historian, any sociologist. If you take a look at the history of this planet, especially what I will call recent history, you're going to see that which is not just a repeat, but it's a profound repeat. War begats war begats war. And you've done it for eons. It just seems that after one conqueror has done its thing, another one comes along to do its thing. And truly, if you mark and measure history, the best way to remember it is wars. Who conquered who, when, how it worked. The wars all have names. Often the wars represent the ones who were leading the wars, or the ones who were in charge during the wars, until you started numbering them. Now that's recent history. You have World War I. It was kind of solved, enough so that you celebrated a peaceful time. But it's almost like World War I, you took a break to regroup yourselves. And you went right into World War II for the same reasons you got World War I. If you take a look at it, it almost seems to be not just a repeat, it's a never-ending cycle. And this, of course, led you to the prophecies, perhaps even within the scriptures, of World War III. Dear ones, what the indigenous told you, what the scriptures told you, wasn't that you were going to have a World War III. They told you of a startling change that is coming. And on or about the year 2000, working into 2012, there would be change. And some read it to mean destruction at the end of the world. Now that is common. And we've spoken it before with those who will go out and look at the future and come back and see things. They're seeing a biased human view. Spirit will show them something that is radically different, a final battle of dark and light. They'll come back with a message of destruction, total destruction. That is a human bias. That's not what you got, is it? Where is World War III anyway? What happened in the year 2000 with the Armageddon anyway? Does history repeat itself? Yes, it does. Is history going to repeat itself? No, it isn't. I have made a statement to you, and now I'll enhance it. This is not your grandfather's world. It just isn't. And I'm not talking about your technology. I'm talking about your consciousness. This may get too confusing and too technical. But I will tell you there is a cycle of history that works in a machine, you might say, of dimensionality that depends upon the consciousness that exists at the moment. If the consciousness doesn't change, the same things that caused the first war will then enhance it and create the second, or the third, or the fourth. Like a train track around a Christmas tree, perhaps, from last month. And the train goes around the track and around the track and around the track and never seems to change. Always around and around. History feels like that to a historian. But what you don't know is that when the train changes, a new track is then created. Now, some say this could be measured literally with the dimensionality of physics when it comes to that which are the lines of time. We have discussed with you that the future perhaps is not what you think. There may be many futures depending upon what humans do. That the potentials of where you're going are always there to be read. We have discussed this. We'll discuss it more. But for now, I want you to picture this for a moment. What happens in the future depends upon what happens now. May I review yet again? If you talk to those who talk about multidimensionality and the reality of it, the past, the present, and the future, past, present, future, all reside in one space, the now. Now that is a tough one for almost everyone. In this series of futures that we're giving you this month, the 4, that is one of the themes. If the future exists now, you ought to be able to tap into some of it. And they do, and you do. So does Spirit. But it is measured by what is happening now. We've talked about the snowball running down the hill, which perhaps is your future and all that. But if you're not creating a new snowball, the old one is still running down the hill. What if the snowball you created years and years ago was always running down the hill and it was war? It'll always continue. And you could look in front of the snowball and say, well, here's where it's going. But if you create a new one, it goes to a certain destination that's different from war. This may be confusing to you. I'm just telling you this. You have a new consciousness today that this planet has never, ever seen. And that alters the train track around that tree. I'm speaking to a culture now that celebrates a holiday with a train track around a tree. Imagine for a moment that little train around that tree gets a siding because the train has changed color, perhaps. And perhaps it gets tired of going around that tree. That's the way history, revealing itself, changing itself, or repeating itself, works. Yes, history has been repeating itself, and you can go back and see it and see it and see it and see it and marvel at how human beings keep trying to solve problems by doing the same dysfunctional thing and coming up with the same answer. It didn't work. And now the consciousness starts to change of what may work instead, and it does not involve war. You might say, well, look at now. There's wars now. I'll say it again. Did you take a look at how this planet has responded to the wars that are here? How it's repelled almost every country or civilization that it had to occur at all, and they want to stop it as quickly as they can. They're not joining in like they did in World War I and World War II and all the other wars. They didn't leap on the bandwagon and take sides and go for it like they did before. Instead, they struck back and said, how can we help the refugees? How can we make this shorter? How can we make this end? This is what happened. That's different. You have changed the way the train is going. Will it still go in a circle? Probably not. Because what's in your future is continued evolvement, not a stuck energy like you've had so far. Again, I will answer, history has been repeating itself. You can see it. And it has stopped and moved just about the time you were told things would start happening. In the year 2000, slightly before, moving into 2012, fulfilling many of the indigenous prophecies and even that of the church, who saw it one way, but it's still a massive change. Dear ones, I'll tell you, yet again, listen carefully. You're in a new future you have never been in before. That's a funny statement, but it's the truth. You are creating a new track that you're on. You've straightened it out. It's going toward the light instead of in a circle of continual darkness. This is not your grandfather's world. I come to you as Kryon in love with humanity to give you perhaps the most hopeful news I could ever give anyone. New news that no one perhaps is giving you like this. But all over this planet right now, there are those into channeling, visions, metaphysics, intuition, who are all telling you the same thing. Consciousness seems to be changing. The way humans think seems to be changing. What human beings want seems to be changing. The way human beings used to ally with their leaderships is starting to change. Leaders themselves are starting to wake up and change and realize they will not be leaders much longer if they don't listen to the public, who is saying we're tired of this or that, we're tired of the hate that is there, we're going to demand a little more function and less dysfunction. We need a little more compassion and love in various places that are all over the planet. And we are the majority. That's what humans are starting to say. Oh, there's much to solve, of course. Kryon has been called the Pollyanna channel sometimes. That may mean things to you. Always good news. I want to tell you something. Yes, because the news is good. I'm only reporting what's there. Beautiful things are there for you. There is so much hope for this planet. That snowball of global peace is still running down that hill on target, on track. It may take a generation. You don't want to hear that. But when it arrives, you'll be here. What can I say to you besides this? I am in love with you for good reason. Spirit loves you, every one of you, for good reason. You're here on purpose. You're not a victim of the planet. Awaken. Awaken to God inside and goodness. And see that others around you will want the exact same thing. It's time. And so it is.